Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're back after a little bit of a Savior's Day hiatus. Um, and so we're just going to chat this morning. I just want to talk to you about some things that I've been seeing and I've been hearing and all this good stuff. Um, Yeah. So no commercials this morning. We're going to go to prayer and come back, give you a quick recap, talk about Ramadan starting today. We got National Economic Blackout Day today, and how that can be impactful for us in terms of showing power. And then I want to talk about hurt feelings. All right. So say this prayer with me, and I'll be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Oh, my coffee is so good this morning. Assalamu alaikum, family. How are you all? Welcome back. We're back after our little Savior's Day hiatus. Excuse my appearance. I've been in a little bit of recovery mode. It's a good recovery thing, though. As my father would say, I've been having high class problems, like being tired because you all overwhelmed us with your support, excuse me, and love. And I'm just getting my voice back too. Support and love this Savior's Day week and weekend. I'm so grateful and just so very honored by your presence, by your support. You know, when you embark upon a spiritual journey, like those that I've embarked upon, and there's been several, and there's one actually brewing right now, but then there's the former home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Sajda House. It's such a spiritual process. And when you go deep into the spiritual tunnel of creating, sometimes you become unaware of what's happening outside of you. And sometimes when I pull my head out of that spiritual tunnel and I look around, sometimes there's lots of love there, and I'm so grateful for it. And then a lot of times there's people who have turned into monsters, and I was like, ooh, what happened to them? But either way, you all have been absolutely amazing. And, you know, it's so interesting how sometimes we ourselves are clueless of a divine assignment, or that one is coming, or that we have one, because we start seeing, or when we go back, we can track different life patterns and the way our life was moving. And it's difficult to say, this means something, because oftentimes we're just reacting, right? It's part of our subject today. We're just reacting to maybe the hurt feelings, maybe to something someone said. We're just constantly reacting. And so we don't realize that Allah is shaping and making us into something and into someone. And my goal is always to help others see what their divinity is, their divine assignment, and then we can just kind of flow together in this great cause. and this great mission. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so so much. Um, I'm just grateful, very very grateful, and I remember um, the minister saying to me that the house was a world or something like that, and thinking that I understood what it meant. And then this weekend was really a space of revelation that really helped me to begin to see that it's more than just a museum and lean into that. It's more than just a place where people come and ooh and ah over where the messenger used to live. It's deeper and greater and bigger than that. And it's also helping me with something, because any of you all who know me know that I have a strong tendency where I'll just remove myself. I'm just like, I'll go over here to the side. If things ain't working, I go, you know what? I'll step aside, I'll step over here. And I think I probably would be continuing some of that pattern um, were it not for the minister giving me the same name as the vanity or spiritual name of the house. And many of you all know that in the preservation world, houses have spiritual names or vanity names, and then they have the official name. And so I probably would have done that, where I just kind of said, I'm just going to go off into the corner and let it just be what it is. But um, Allah is also pulling something out of me as well. Let me turn my phone off here. I'm sorry. Um, Pulling something out of me as well, as we are working to develop the house. It's all starting to kind of flow and come together. So again, thank you everybody. I'm putting together some really cool gifts for the team who I couldn't have done it without them. I can't wait till you all get these gifts. Ramadan starts tomorrow, so I think you're going to really really love them. So now here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Today is National Economic Blackout Day. And I want to explain, I was on the phone yesterday with my brother Delano, and we are working to build the PNC conference coming up in November. And if you all don't know Delano A. Johnson, follow him on Instagram or go to his website. He's just a really cool brother. He and his wife are like just this really creative, amazing couple. She helps authors, helps people to write books. Delano's a creative. He's spent time at Disney. He's just got that marketing eye that everybody needs in their life. And he's been working with me to help develop my personal brand. But he also is going to be I don't know, how do you say this? So everybody knows that Dr. George Fraser is the founder of the Power Networking Conference, or PNC. And he is phasing himself out as he's moving into another dimension in networking. And yes, he's getting older, but it's just another phase. And Delano's going to be taking over the actual conference and the operations. And actually he is. And so we were talking about algorithms, and we were talking about how we have to find a way to change the algorithms, and things like Economic Blackout Day can help with the algorithm. Many of us have started to learn AI and algorithms just from being on social media, right? You notice that the things that you like, the things that you watch more of, the algorithm sends you more of the same, right? I was on TikTok, and I was trying to fix, somehow my regular account got blocked out, and then I got a new account. It's a whole drama. and something from paternity court came up. And I was looking at it and I was like, I got all into it, right? And I clicked the link in the bio and I watched the 3 clips that they had of this particular paternity suit. And then next time I came on TikTok, that's all I was getting was court shows, right? So that's how the algorithm works. That's how AI works. It learns your behaviors. Once it learns you, then it can mimic you. So it is making decisions and making moves on what to show you, what to do, and how to act based on predicted behaviors. And those predictions are rooted in behavioral patterns that they've tracked in the past. Okay. Um, and so this is it in a nutshell. I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version. So when those of us in business, I spent a little time doing analyst work. And when you're an analyst, a financial analyst, what you're doing is you're getting the data, you're analyzing the past. Usually you have some kind of model, very similar to what I described. And then you make predictions or you forecast, whether it's sales, whether it's purchasing, whether it's the cost of goods sold, but you're forecasting based on historical data. And so that those people are there in their businesses, they're forecasting because they know that as consumers, we have really been like little robots. They've been able to program us. They put something out there and we run to the store. And they can count on that. They have done it so much that they are pretty sure on this day, today, from 4 to 8 p.m., how much money you're going to spend. You and I are going to spend because the consumer is the most predictable group of people, and the majority of our money is spent on consumerism. So we're very predictable. When we start doing things like economic blackout day, an economic blackout day doesn't mean that you can't buy from a Black-owned business. Okay, I just want to say that again. Say that. So your local Black-owned business, if you find yourself saying, okay, I need a cake for an event I'm having tonight, instead of going to your local grocery store chain and getting a cake or dessert, stop by the local Black bakery. Go by Pookie's Crack Cake or somebody like that, a local bakery, and get your stuff. So driving the money into small business, because the idea that, we get these big numbers and we say we are $1 trillion in spending, but we forget how, or we don't really know what that really truly means. And so I like to break it down like this. The dollar circulates in the Arab community 46 days. Okay. Meaning when an Arab person gets their paycheck, the money in that paycheck circulates in Arab communities 46 days. That's over a month. So whether it's a bill they pay, whether it's food they buy, entertainment, snacks, if they go out on a date, whatever they're doing within that time frame, that $1 is circulating. So when that check hits their pocket or it hits their direct deposit, they're taking most of it and recycling it into their community. That means that whatever their needs are, they are looking to their community to fulfill it. Okay. In the Jewish community, it's 19 days. So shorter, right? But 19 days is still impressive. Same thing. In the Black community, it's 6 hours, meaning that from the time your paycheck hits your bank account or from the time you spend that dollar, it's not even a half a day when it's gone out of your community. That's why we're the consumers and we're under somebody else's spell and always being controlled. But if you say, I got to buy a gift today, I'm going to go out of my way to get it from a Black-owned company. See, what happens to most of us, we're not conscious. And we feel like ain't nobody looking anyway, and it don't matter. So yeah, I got to make a quick run, but I don't care. I'm running to the store. Instead of maybe going a couple extra exits, finding a Black-owned company, ordering something from a Black-owned company online, and recirculating that dollar. And my thing is, look, let's try to get to a day. Of course, we need to do better than a day, but damn, let's do better. Let's at least get to a day. Let the dollar stick around for a day in the community. 2 days, 3 days, but 6 hours. And it all starts with how you and I spend that first dollar that comes out of our pocket. Because if we so busy running, we can't wait to, so the money be burning a hole in our pocket. So we pass by a certain store and we just can't wait to get up in that store and get what's hot, so that wherever we go next, somebody can see we got that purse, or we got them pants, or that outfit. And I'm going to do a show to show y'all how to even shop for fashion, so you learn how to buy timeless pieces. See, part of our problem too is that we buy trendy clothes. And when you buy trendy clothes, the trendy clothes go out of style. So if you try to pull them out 2-3 years from now, you're going to look old. You're going to look old school. You're going to look out of step. But if you learn how to buy timeless and classy pieces of clothing, whether it's boots, shoes, jackets, if you learn how to shop like that, you can pull stuff out 2-3 years from now and you don't look antiquated. Or you learn how to take and mix in something that you may have from a couple seasons ago with something that's new. So I'm going to do a show on that, because I see all these trendy things and I see them pop up on Instagram. I'll give you a little hint. When it comes to shoes, you have to pay attention to the heel. So the heel is what can age your shoe, believe it or not. So you want to be careful. I was talking to somebody, to give you an example. I was at the dentist a few weeks ago, and my dentist had on the cutest boots. I said, those boots are nice. She said, these boots are 25 years old. And I said, I believe it, because it was an all leather boot. She said she had the heel redone a couple times. Leather heel, very classic heel, classic, nice boot. When you start going with the odd shaped heel, even if you start going with wooden heels, you have to be very careful, because they'll go out of style on you. If you go with that fancy heel, the one with the hole in it, or the one with, we're going to talk about that. So I'll that way you don't have to spend money over and over again. You don't feel like every time you get dressed, you got to run to the store because you don't have anything classic in your closet. Okay. Same thing with furniture. If you buy really modern, if you will, furniture, then in probably 2 years, your house is going to look outdated. It's like when you see those homes, there was a point called the modern era, like in the late 60s, early 70s, kind of like the Brady Bunch type of house where things got really trendy. Well, when you go into those houses now and you see that green refrigerator and all this stuff that was fancy back then, it doesn't look, it's not something that you want in your house. But that's another show. We'll talk about how to decorate and how to dress in a certain way. But National Blackout Day. Why is it important? It's important because we got to start shaking up the algorithm. Okay. So if we stay out of and stay away from certain stores, especially on a collective basis when they tell us to, when we're doing it as a group, I think it's Al Sharpton that's running today's or initiating today's Black economic blackout. It changes things. It means then when we sit down to the table and say, we're not going to shop with you unless you start doing A, B, C, and D, or stop following us around up in this store. We're not coming there anymore. When we start doing and making those statements, they don't have to diss us. They can't diss us. See, they can diss us because they know we're going to be in there shopping anyway. So they don't have to really listen to us, right? Anyway, I wanted to say that. So Delano and I were talking about um, how the Marcus Garveys, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they told us about unity, pooling our resources or collaboration, stopping wanton criticism of everything Black. Some of us are just negative about anything that's Black owned. And it kind of ties into our subject today, right? So they talked to us about that. Just those three things alone will impact the algorithm, because the algorithm isn't planning on us uniting. The algorithm isn't forecasting based upon us collaborating or pooling our resources. They think we're going to do what we always have done. And there's not really a person even thinking like, oh, wait a minute, the Negroes is feeling this way today. They know that they got it down, so it's down pat. So they got us programmed. And so they don't count on that. They count on us being disunified or divided. They count on us not collaborating. They count on us talking about each other and talking negative about each other. That's why they put certain PR campaigns out there, because they know we're going to go dark. They know we're going to go negative. They know that most of us are a bunch of haters, and they already know that. And that's how they plan and manipulate us. And it's just a whole powerful thing. That's a whole nother show. But what I want to talk about today is hurt feelings and hurt people who hurt people. What I've learned with most of you who I coach as entrepreneurs, most of our creative paralysis comes from the fact that we either have been hurt in the past or we're worried about getting hurt. Usually it's one or the two. It's the pain and the fear of being hurt that paralyzes us and prevents us from doing well in business and opening up our businesses or being creative or stepping out on faith. We're more worried about this person hurting our feelings, who 9 times out of 10 don't even care about us, than we are about making a mistake. Some of us are so talented and so smart. And so many of you are so beautifully sensitive and in tune to Allah, to God. But your biggest fear, you walk on eggshells. You walk like a scared person because you're worried about getting your feelings hurt, or you had your feelings hurt in the past. But yet, a lot of us are in relationships and that person hurts our feelings all the time. But we keep going. We don't throw the person away because they hurt our feelings, but we'll throw ourselves away because we're worried about whether or not somebody's going to hurt us. I want you all to think about that. I will tell you, one of the biggest aspects of my success has been that I'm not worried about whether or not you hurt my feelings. And I don't even care if you hurt my feelings in the past. I'm just going to make an adjustment, but it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm not going to hide because of it. If you see me kind of being small or playing things small or kind of going off to the side, it's only because at that moment, maybe Allah is not telling me to step up, or maybe it's not about me in that moment. But I tell you what it's not about. It's not about whether or not my feelings are hurt, and it's not about whether or not you hurt my feelings. But I promise you, 90% of my coaching clients are paralyzed by this very fact. Some of us use deceptive intelligence and we say, well, I just got to be perfect. It's got to be 100% correct. And a lot of people are, they got an algorithm in that they are so accustomed to people being afraid. This is what manipulative people do. They so accustomed to you being worried about whether or not your feelings are getting hurt that they use that to manipulate you. Well, I don't know, you ain't ready. I don't know if this is good enough. Something I learned from my business partner, Dr. Dormu. I remember we opened the first clinic, and I remember staying up in there all night, just sweeping and wiping and organizing and looking at signs and making sure everything's okay, going in and out of the exam rooms, making sure that the tissue paper on the exam bed is set up right, and making sure there's enough gloves, and walking through the schedule and thinking about, okay, how many gloves are they going to need? Well, I mean, I just remember I was paralyzed by my worry over perfection. And I didn't even want to open the day that we opened the first clinic. I wanted to delay it. He was like, look, Winnie, he calls me Winnie. He's like, look, Winnie, it's time. We got to go. It's going to work out. And I remember him pushing me every time we got ready to open a new space. I wanted to delay it because I was worried about not being perfect. And I had to go into myself and I said, well, what is that? Because it looks nice. It's together. We ready. What is that? You're worried about, and it's me talking to myself, you're worried about your feelings being hurt over how somebody sees it. And I'm not talking about customer service stuff. I'm a real stickler when it comes to customer service and treating people right and not abusing people in business. So I'm not talking about that where you go, yeah, whatever, it's all right, they be all right. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that where you won't move forward. You won't open the doors to your business. You won't launch that program because you're just so concerned and worried over how you're going to be seen. There is not a leader of significance or a person of significance in our community or beyond that has not had their feelings hurt. Not one. You think Martin Luther King didn't have his feelings hurt time and time again? You think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't get his feelings hurt? You think Madam C.J. Walker didn't get her feelings hurt? It's interesting because when it comes to women, we like to talk about over and over again and define the woman by her hurt feelings. That's a whole nother subject. You think Mother Clara Muhammad didn't get her feelings hurt? You think the minister didn't get his feelings hurt or hasn't at a certain point? You think the CEO of that company that you admire didn't get their feelings hurt? You think Beyonce don't get her feelings hurt? You think Diana Ross didn't get her feelings hurt? You think W.E. Du Bois didn't get his feelings hurt? Getting your feelings hurt is almost like a rite of passage. You know why? Because the question is not whether or not you get your feelings hurt, because if you're human, your feelings are going to get hurt. If you're human, you're going to be disappointed. If you're human, you're going to be let down. If you're human, there's going to be somebody that didn't do what you thought they should do. The question is, what do you do once your feelings get hurt? And there's all kind of ways. See, hurt feelings are connected to loss. And so we lie because we want to be seen a certain way. Sometimes we get our feelings hurt and we experience loss because we want somebody to see us a certain way. We want somebody to view us a certain way. And if we think for a moment that they don't see us that way, then our feelings get hurt. Or maybe it's somebody in a leadership position who you really admire and you really like, but you really realize like they don't like me. Like they don't mess with me like that. And then your feelings get hurt. And I have to ask you, what difference do it make? Maybe they just don't like you. Maybe they jealous of you. Maybe they got a problem with you. Maybe you remind them of what they're not doing. Maybe your greatness is so big that they can't stand to look in your face. Maybe they just flat out just like, this person ain't my cup of tea. So what do? Do we throw the whole relationship away? Do we throw everything away? Do we throw God away? Because that's a lot of times what a lot of us do, especially us spiritual, so-called spiritual people. Uh-oh. We go to church. We go to mosque. We go somewhere and somebody hurts our feelings. Somebody disappoints us. Somebody does something to us that we cannot believe because we admired this person. We cared about this person. We really, really want that person to love us, whether it's on the church guild or the women's board or, somebody on the committee in the mosque you work with, whatever. Somebody in the sorority, your ship disappoints you. Y'all used to be real cool when y'all was pledging, and then all of a sudden they start messing around with your man. And now you like, well, now you want to say, forget the sorority, forget the mosque, forget Allah. And that's where we make our mistake. Because a lot of us will turn our back on God because somebody else who ain't a God, who can't stop a gnat from flying in their face, hurt our feelings. And now we just decide, I'm turning I know people who used to go to the mosque or used to go to church and somebody hurt their feelings and now they don't even pray anymore. I'm going to say that again. Somebody who was introduced and opened up to a higher level of thinking, a thought process that took them out of a slave-minded vibration, right? And then they got their feelings hurt and they threw Allah away. They said, I'm not praying no more. I get it if a person is endangering you. I get it if it's such a bad trigger and you got to be careful. You now got to be mindful of people around you. But do you throw Allah away? And so we have to all question ourselves. If we find ourselves doing that, what did we believe in the first place? Were we really polytheist? Where we created gods besides Allah? Was the priest our God? Was the preacher our God? Was the captain our God? Was our ship a God? Was the dean a God? Was our boss a God? Who's God? Did we make that person, place, or thing a God besides Allah? So when that thing failed to perform in the way in which we know God can perform and will perform, all of a sudden we turned our back on Allah. And we got to let that sit with us. Because the beautiful thing is that we can hear that. And it ain't going to take but a second to get down there right now and say your prayers. Stop right now in the middle of this and say, Allah, I am so sorry. Because some of us do it and we don't even realize that we're doing it. Some of us turn our back on Allah and we don't even know it. We've fallen all the way down. And nobody ever stopped to assess us. And we didn't stop to assess ourselves. So rising above, as our study guides say, those emotions into the thinking of God, into your connectivity, your divinity, how God loves you, how God cares for you. See, when you showed up on the planet, that was Allah saying, I'm going to go to the earth and express myself like this. But yet, we will cut off the connection just because somebody hurt our feelings, because somebody made us mad, because somebody disappointed us. Again, what kind of belief system do we truly have if we can say, bye Allah, I'm out? I'm not praying no more. I'm not bowing down no more. That's some real devilish type of stuff. You even see it in business. You see it on projects all the time. When you understand, it's the beautiful thing. Let me tell you something. One of my biggest gifts is I can recognize patterns. And when you recognize that a person has a pattern of thinking, you understand how to move. People do it on projects with businesses all the time. They decide that they didn't get what they wanted, so they just going to sabotage the whole thing. Instead of rolling out and going to get what you want somewhere else, they decide they want to sabotage. The problem is when you come in and you think that you're going to sabotage as a result of your disappointment with yourself, which is more than likely what it is, you set yourself up for worse damage and worse hurt than if you just cut your losses and walked away. Happens in business all the time. All the time. I remember I was just talking to somebody yesterday about how a business partner and I, we had a manager who was stealing from us, and we found out, we started making certain moves, cutting things off, and next thing you know, the person wanted to fight us. It's like, girl, go ahead on before somebody called them people on you. Because you already going to have such bad energy, such bad karma, because you're over here messing with the wrong folks. So I want us all to check ourselves. How many of us have given up on our businesses because somebody hurt our feelings? You had a bad day with somebody, and now all of a sudden you were supposed to write, you were supposed to create today, but you're not doing it because somebody hurt your feelings. That writing that you're doing, that creating that you're doing, that business building that you're doing is your communication with the creator that created you. It's you aligning yourself, getting closer, living in that space of revelation where you can be inspired and uplifted. You don't want to turn your back on that. You got to know how to go to that when you get hurt. Hurt people hurt people. But you cannot let a hurt person force you to turn your back on God. Don't do it. Don't do it. I see you all making some comments, and I'm sorry, I have not acknowledged my chat here. Let's see who we got. We got RJ Punches in the house. Look at Nubia Latifah sending that super sticker. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Any Right says ASA family. Walaikum salam. Sister Letha in the house says ASA morning blessings family. Mom says happy Friday. Sister Sandra D. I'm so excited to meet her in person this week. Says Assalamu alaikum family. Happy blessed Savior's Day. Any Right says that's very good advice. Timeless clothing. Yeah, I'm gonna do a show. I gotta put it together though and bring out some stuff to show y'all how to shop in these stores and purchase things that are timeless. It's a whole science. A whole science. Even when we did, I'm going to give y'all a little secret. When we put together the statue that's in the front of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, the Sajda House, the Cracked Adam statue, we did a clothing study so that we could select clothing items that would be timeless and hairstyles that would be timeless. And you could do that too with your outfits, your furniture, all of that. Sister Monica, it's good to see you, sis. Assalamu alaikum and Grand Friday, Sister Sajda and listening family. Praise be to Allah. And let's see who we got. Any Right says that's true because a lot of people ask God, why did you let this happen to me? And at that moment, throw Allah away. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, let me give you a few little tips before we get ready to close out here. Couple things that I do. And I just try to help people with what has worked for me. I feel like there's not enough people out here sharing information on what has worked for them. There's somebody out here who's been through something, gone through trauma or something like that, and having somebody to share what they've gone through with is very important. Couple things is I am very clear on how a person is vibrating. Assalamu alaikum, brother Lamont. Yes, Ramadan Mubarak. Happy Friday. Ramadan starts tomorrow, y'all. Y'all ready? I made my bean soup yesterday, and I'm gonna hydrate today, and try to eat some good food today because we kicking in tomorrow. It's always easier to fast when your nutrition is intact. So making sure you're taking your supplements during Ramadan is important as well. Okay, so number one, understand that everybody's vibrating differently. And I try to be real clear about speaking my truth because I know what things bother me. So I'm very audio. I can't stand nobody to talk down to somebody. I don't like people who talk down, who aren't really careful with their communication. If you know me, even if I write a text or a letter, I'm very careful about the communication. I'm always injecting emotional intelligence and thinking about what's happening on the other side, because oftentimes people aren't reacting to what you say. They're reacting to how you said what you said made them feel. So they're reacting to what you said and how it made them feel more so than the actual things on there. So if you send a text to somebody and you say, good morning, and give some kind of salutation, and then you say, listen, are we meeting today at 2:00? Or, hey guys, I just wanted to remind y'all, let's say you need something done today and it's going to be critical. There's a way that you remind your team how that critical thing needs to be done today. You can't say, hey y'all, we got to pop today. There's a way that you can couch that in language. But if you just get on the text and say, I know one thing, this better be done, or you just give these hardcore orders, you're going to be very, very ineffective as a leader. And there's different styles, right? So people who work with children, I remember I hired a supervisor one time, and she had been working with children a lot. And so the biggest complaint about her was that she talked to people like they were a child. And she was nice and she was really good, but people could not stand her. And it was so emotional for her because she couldn't understand, why is it that people don't like me? And I told her, I said, in my observation of you, you talk to people like you're talking to 5-year-olds. She says, no, I don't yell. I don't. I said, yeah, but you talk to them like they're children, and you're very condescending. So people don't like to interact with you because of how you make them feel. So for me, I try to be that example of communication. Or if somebody says something I don't like, or I see them constantly bringing negative energy, then I realize, oh, you know what? I'm blessed at this stage in my profession to have walk away power and go, look, here are the conditions under which I can support. And so, we were talking about that. Delano and I were talking about that yesterday, and just creating this environment with PNC where people can come and produce and support and collaborate. And a lot of that has to do with language and, impression. But anyway, back to my point, understand that people are vibrating at different levels. Everybody is experiencing the world differently. And just because they're a manager, just because they're in a position, they may be a captain, they may be a priest, they may be the dean of pledges, they may be the executive at the job, they may be your boss, may even be a parent, but everybody's vibrating differently. And you just might be in a better vibrational space than them because of what they're going through. Maybe the pressure of their job is causing them to speak to people in a certain way. And so this is where we have to be mindful as leaders. One of the things that has helped me in business and as a leader is being very mindful of my communication style, how I communicate, who I communicate. And so you got to be careful, and you got to assess the audience, assess the person on the other side. The first time I had to learn this, I was working with an insurance company, and they were phasing out a couple of departments that had been with the company because they were going to go through a sale. And the two departments that they gave to me to help them to phase out were all people nearing retirement. And they were all older white men. And so I had to learn to understand communication. And I had to get into their heads to see, how do I put myself in a position so that I can communicate and, one, respect myself, and then be effective in my job, because these are older white men nearing retirement who probably started working at a time when I couldn't even be up on this floor. But here I am here working with them on how to peel out their department. So I had to learn times where I needed to be firm, where I needed to be supportive, where I had to check disrespect. So it was all about being very mindful and very careful of that. So I just say, be a little bit more sensitive. The other thing is, don't validate another person's lack. See, a lot of people are acting like that because they're insecure. And their insecurity, and this happens a lot of times in business, a lot of people are insecure, and so they don't really want to get in the minutia because they're afraid of what it's going to look like, or they don't want to get their feelings hurt. They're afraid of loss. And so they will be very focused on assigning people. So there's a lot of, whenever you go into an environment, and you learn this, like I have as a consultant over the years, and you see people barking orders. You get a client and they're just ordering people around. Well, you need to do this, and why won't you do that, and go over there and do, and there's a lot of ordering. The ordering is really the result of an insecurity. And so sometimes you can speak to that person's insecurity and get them to settle down. If they won't let you support them in that way, then you may have to decide, like, I don't know if I can work with this person. These are things that you got to go through and assess. But you don't give up on your career. You don't give up on God. You don't walk away from the church. You don't walk away from the mosque. You say, you know what? I might need to protect myself because this person might be abusive, or this person is doing things that I just can't afford to subject myself to this abuse. But damn it, Allah didn't do it. It's them and their insecurity. So don't throw Allah away. If you tell me, I used to go to such and such church, and I was a deacon at the such and such church, then when I come around you, I should feel like you are a believer and a person that is a member of the such and such church, even if you're not there anymore because maybe the priest was abusive, the preacher was abusive, or maybe they were doing some stuff that you just weren't comfortable with. Or sometimes, and this is something for us to be mindful of in leadership in these organizations, sometimes people are going through so much in their life that they can't afford to expose themselves to your bullshit, excuse my language. So they decide, I got to back up. They don't want to go, but they're at a breaking point with everything that they're going through. They may be going through a divorce. They may have lost a family member. What you're doing to them may trigger them in a way that they just can't take it. So as a leader, you got to be mindful of that. What is my sister going through? What is my brother going through? So I get it that sometimes you got to protect yourself because maybe this or that was going on at the at that job or at that office. I've worked in places where it's been toxic and I'm like, gotta go. I get that. But I then didn't say, Allah, why would you have me here? You know what I said? Thank you for teaching me what I don't want to do. Or thank you for teaching me a better way to do this. See, you multiply the reward, and collapse the time that you get to your goal by acknowledging what you've learned. See, blessings don't just, it's not going to just fall out of the sky. We start preparing ourselves for things. And as you're trying to get to that next level and that next level and that next level and that next level, then at each level, you got to acknowledge what you observed and what you learned at that level, because that's what's going to get you to the next level. So when I say, bring me in any office, bring me in the board, whether it's to the White House, to the CEO or whatever, sit me on the board, make me an advisor. I will survive and thrive and make sure your stuff is successful. I'll make sure you don't have a toxic environment. I'll make sure that your policies, your processes, that things are running smoothly. This is what I get paid for. This is what I charge for. This is what I do with my clients. I would say that. But I'm the kind of person, if I get attacked, then I'm like, you know what, is this worth it? Now I'm evaluating. Again, everybody gets their feelings hurt. It's a rite of passage, but you don't turn your back on Allah, because Allah may guide you back around. Trust me, I know. He may guide you back into a situation to say, okay, baby, I'm not going to put you back in that situation, daughter, where you were being hurt, you were being disrespected, but I got something else for you. And when you're open and you can still hear that communication, you can move on to the next assignment and the next assignment. But don't sit there trying to prove your worth, tearing up the organization, tearing up the structure, disrespecting everybody, just flailing and tearing everything up, all because you got your feelings hurt. Everybody get their feelings hurt. I'm going to say it again. Everybody gets their feelings hurt. Are you mad at Allah because you got your feelings hurt? Or are you evaluating perhaps how you saw things that caused you to have an artificial attachment that made you want to go jump off the bridge because that person hurt your feelings? I know this is tough, but I want us to be we got to grow up a little bit. We got to mature a little bit, because we, especially as a people, now I'm talking to us as Black people, those of us as a people, we have to figure out how we're going to get to that next level. And you best damn believe that your people going to hurt your feelings. Your family going to hurt your feelings. Your cousin, your auntie, your mama might hurt your feelings. But you're going to get your feelings hurt. Now, I'm not saying take abuse. I'm not saying it's going to be a pattern. I think y'all get what I'm saying. But that never means turn your back on God. You should not be saying to me, oh, yeah, I used to be in the nation back in 1985 to 2000. And now I see you and you smell like cigarettes and you in the bottom of the barrel. And that shouldn't be. We got to resurrect you all over again. If I should be able to tell that you were part of, or you are a part of this spiritual movement, or I should be able to tell, the way they do business, I could tell that they were former law enforcement, or they were you got to get some benefit of it. You can't go and waste your time and then come out of it and go, I'm out of here. It ain't a club. The church, the mosque, is not a club. You don't just go, okay, okay, Allah, I'm done with you. You the club head too. I'm gone. What? Where is Allah? Where's Allah in your life? Where's your spirituality? I should walk into your home, sit in your car. I should be around you. And I said, it's something about him. It's something about her. I'm feeling the strong presence of God in there. And then if they say to you, well, I used to be the pastor at such and such Baptist church, you go, okay, I get it. And then if you said, well, why'd you leave the church? You can have that conversation. And I guarantee you that person who's still holding on to Allah, that Allah is like, okay, I still got that servant right there. I can use that one. You can listen. I am a perfect example of how you could be planning. I was planning on moving to Africa with my mom. I was going to get a place over there with my money. I was going to get a place over in Africa, and I was going to have a place over here. I was going to be bopping back and forth, rolling around the world. And Allah said, oh, daughter, right this way. Come on over here, build this, get this house, build this museum. And I love every minute of it because I'm in submission to Almighty God, Allah. And that's all I want. I don't care about nothing else. I'm not worried about you and what you tripping on and whether or not you like me or not. And it's kind of got to be your problem because I'm following what he wants. But we should never let go of that firm handle on Allah. Your Quran, I have my travel Quran right here. I actually have it down here. And listen, when I was traveling, running around the world, I was taking this Quran with me. This thing has been with me through thick and thin. And even in the back here, some of the back of it is coming out some. I need to figure out how to glue it back in there, but it actually goes back here in the back. It's torn right at Surah 101, the calamity. But my point is, you should be holding on to Allah. I don't care what it is, but never turn your back on Allah. And Allah will tell you where to go, what to do, what he wants you to do. And then when you get focused on that, you could care less about what people are doing. See, when you're narrow focused and you ain't really got that much to do and you ain't that busy, you be worried about what somebody else is doing and what they said about you and how come they don't like you. And then you sitting up there like, you got to get to the point where you grown enough. I just said this the other day about somebody. I said, man, I really like that person. I love them. It's unfortunate that they don't like me. And I just moved around. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay to get your feelings hurt. Stop acting like a baby. We're not 3-year-olds. A lot of us are stuck in our emotional space like we're little boys and little girls. Yes, you get your feelings hurt. You can throw a temper tantrum. It's all right, but you better get your butt up and grow up. Get up, grow up, and stand at attention and say, Allah, what would you have me to do today? You know he wants you to be respectful. You know he don't want you going and messing up and tearing down the structure, but he wants you. I hope that makes sense to y'all. They hurt your feelings. Now what? Get over it. Stop acting like a baby. Nobody's coming to your rescue. Ain't nobody gonna come and say, okay. And guess what? You probably so identify now with them hurt feelings that even if they came to you and said, you know what, sis, I am so sorry. You know what, brother, my bad. You wouldn't care because you done already turned your back on Allah in a certain way. You shouldn't be looking like a spiritless, divineless person just because somebody hurt your feelings. Allah is the best knower. And he's going to try us and crack us open and break us open in a way that's going to bring out what's in us so that we can correct and develop and move forward. We're never going to grow if we're afraid of the imperfections that are inside of us. See, as an artist, your imperfections can become part of the art. It can become part of how you express yourself. But we have to go ahead and allow ourselves to be broken open. Allow ourselves to be broken open. Any questions? Any thoughts about that before? I know we started a few minutes late, so I'm going to go a few minutes over. Any questions, comments about that? Brother Robert 11X said, good teaching. All praises due to Allah. Any Rice said, you're absolutely correct. Sister Alita had the bullseye. Look, let me tell you, when I started traveling, and it seemed like every time I got my schedule with the consulting firm that I was working with, I was out of town. And at first I was like, oh, cool, Boston. Okay. And then I get it and I go, oh, Mexico. Okay. And then I get it and I go, oh, San Francisco. Okay. And then after a while, I start going, man, I'm never here. I started to feel some kind of way, like, Allah, what are you doing? But it just kept happening, kept going and going. And this went on for years. And I would put my foot down like Savior's Day and Day of Atonement and go, look, I got to get to Atlanta, or I got to get here, or whatever. And I'd go. And I remember the tremendous spiritual growth that I experienced during that time, that I'm 99% certain that I would not have experienced it if Allah hadn't put all that travel and stuff on my schedule. I wouldn't have been deep into that Quran. I wouldn't have been deep into my prayers. I wouldn't have gone much deeper into my meditations. I mean, I'd be in towns and I'm like, well, okay, there'd be so many times. I remember being stranded in Buffalo, New York. And in Buffalo, it got to the point where it was snowing every day. And or if it wasn't snowing in Buffalo, it was snowing in Chicago and we couldn't get back. So I used to do this thing where I would work 4 days, fly back on like that Thursday night and be here Friday, Saturday, and fly back out Sunday morning. Just a quick turnaround long enough just to wash my clothes and pack and stuff. And I couldn't do that when I was up in Buffalo. And so I remember going to Niagara Falls Park and meditating, having amazing spiritual experiences. I remember going into crystal shops and just, shopping and getting little pieces. I got really into art and decorating, and I would pick up different art pieces from different places and countries I traveled in. But I just remember growing so much. I remember there would be days where I just started when the projects would be difficult and I would just miss my family, miss Chicago, just miss, being around. And I would take during prayer times in the office, I started learning how to find me like a little corner and go in there and have like these additional times for meditation. And sometimes leaving I remember in New Orleans, I was there for 19 months on a project. And I remember coming in the evening, get off, because in New Orleans, they don't be working late, and going to the gym. I found a gym home. And then after the gym home, usually we done ate already during the day. And in that evening, I had a little balcony on my hotel at one of the hotels I stayed. Then they moved me to what's the big hotel over there on Poydras. And that was like being in a prison. I had to actually go out. But prior to that, I was in this cute little boutique hotel. I think it was costing too much. I had a balcony. And I could sit out there late nights and early morning and literally just meditate. And I was like so in tune and talking to Allah all the time. The amount of spiritual growth that I got during that period, and my feelings were hurt during that period. And I just got to the point where so many things didn't matter. Like I care, but I don't care. And so that whole thing of reacting and responding to Allah because somebody hurt my feelings, or maybe it's a person I think is significant and they should know better, or somebody I just really wanted to love me and they didn't, or people come back and tell you about somebody that's been talking about you. You gotta let that roll off of you. Yeah, okay, I heard what they said, but that ain't got nothing to do with me and Allah. That ain't got nothing to do with how my God rolls with me. That ain't got nothing to do with how he takes care of me. That ain't got nothing to do with how he communicates with me, how he moves with me 24 hours a day. It ain't got nothing to do with if he wants to wake me up and tell me something. It ain't got nothing to do if he wants to tell me to go somewhere and introduce myself to somebody. Next thing you know, that's another opportunity. Has nothing to do with challenges that come my way and how I overcome them and outperform. Has everything to do with him. What you think and what you're doing ain't got nothing to do with me. Now, I'll support you, I'll help you, and I'll love you if you allow me, but I'm not going to force myself on you. And I'll share with you some of this stuff, but listen. And I'm not a spooky person. I don't put my head in the sand. I know some people who think that they don't deal with anything challenging because they think it's negative. And for me, my thing is bring it all. If it's challenging, let's go, because I'm going to show you that God is real. Sometimes I just want to experience it myself. So I'm not that kind of business person. And I tell my team all the time, if there's something bad, anybody around me knows me. If you hear anything bad, anything negative, anything sad, anything upsetting, don't hide it from me. Don't walk around like we can't tell her. If my neck is in a noose, I want my hand on it. So I want all information, good information and bad information. What you might perceive as bad information might be data that I need as I'm moving into another meeting. But if you are on my leadership team and you're withholding data from me, if you're one of my managers and you're withholding data from me because you think it's negative or it's bad, you're doing me a disservice. So I want to talk about what the risks to the project are. I want to talk about what could the problem be. I want to talk about where the attacks could potentially be coming from. I want to talk about that. That's not negative. That's being strategic. Because what I'm going to do, guess what? What's the technique? We're going to shine a light on it. See, I'm already in my mind going, I'm going to be standing on that victory platform in the face of all those that thought that they could stop me. And guess what? They can stop you if your team is not sharing adequate information with you. One of the best ways, the quickest ways to tear down a project and tear you up as a leader is to withhold information from you. All because they don't want your feelings hurt. We got to get over this. Rosa Parks got her feelings hurt. Hell, they hit God in the face. They hurt the messenger, had him running up and down, hiding, running from the hypocrites, had to wear him out, put him in jail. Martin Luther King came to Chicago. They hit him in the head, bust his head open when he was at a protest. Feelings hurt. If you care, your feelings going to get hurt. It's okay. Chalk it up. Sometimes that hit rock make you go, oh, okay, over there is danger. I see. Okay, I know. But that don't mean that we turn our back on Allah. That's the last time I'm going to say it. And I'm going to let y'all go. We're 12 minutes over. Praise be to Allah. Thank you all. We're going to tune in tomorrow. We're going to just continue our chat. We're going to work on, I got a series I'm working on regarding business, but these techniques that I'm giving you, these mental strategies, okay, this is what's going to help you navigate and hold on in business. See, nowadays they got AI and Chat GPT and YouTube and all these places where you can go and you can get the technical side of things. But most of us fail because of what's going on here. Most of us never start because of what's going on in here. Most of us are performing less than our ability because of what's going on here. So I'm going to help you get your head right and get your mental strategies in place, because one of the biggest aspects of the science of business is knowing what to do and when to do it and how you need to be when you do it. Most of us, especially as Black people, as hurt people, trauma victims, you know what we do? We bow out so easily. It's so easy to get us to walk away. It's so easy to get us to perform in a substandard way. We say, you know what? I don't care. I just want to throw this together because I'm done. We can't wait. And we use the language all the time. Nope, that ain't happening. We're winners. And we're going to win no matter what. All right, family. Any Right says, thank you for everything you're doing. Happy Savior's Day. And have a blessed Ramadan. All right. Happy Friday. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Brother Lamont. Thank you for the bullseye, Sister Aletha. All praises due to Allah. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all. Look, get somebody to like and share the content. Make sure you support. Go to Saja Enterprises. We're getting free information. And anytime you start talking about mental strategies, let me tell you, these people charge a grip for it, but you're getting it for free here. Thank you, Nubia Latifa, for the $9.99. You could do like Nubia Latifa and hit that super chat button. Or you could just go to Cash App, Saja Enterprises, put some money in there so we could keep this platform going. All right. See you all tomorrow. Peace and blessings. Love you.